on either smaller projects or passion projects of yours. And the whole time, your money is working for you. So that's essentially how I was able to scale from 4 to over like 80 something units in less than 2 years. Like this secret magical strategy of passive investing that people don't really talk about. For me, like the biggest mistake that I did and I recognize now is that I was too stingy. Like when I first started out, I was so cheap with just like the education component of real estate. Like I only went to free workshops and free conferences and only, did the free classes. And then at the end, whenever there's like an actual course or a program, I'd be like, it's fine. Like I'm just gonna take what I got from this and move forward on my own. And so anytime it was like $100 or, anything really, I just wouldn't pay for it. And that was like the biggest mistake. It really slows down your progress as an investor. Until one day I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pay $100 for this conference. And I'm like, it came with lunch.
The lunch is what got you.
It was the lunch. And ever since that conference, it was private lending. It was how to invest passively in real estate using private lending. And it was called How to Double Your Net Worth in 5 years or less. And it was by a mortgage broker here in Ottawa. His name is Brock Frost, and he's actually my mortgage broker. I'm dropping his name here if you want to go check him out. He's awesome. And yeah, after that conference, it was like a light bulb. Everything changed for me. And I just started like, now I want to pay for everything, like programs, coaches, courses, like everything. And it really, if you've been following me, that was like the biggest game changer for me. Going slow and steady on my own to like exponentially growing my network, my portfolio, my net worth. So like everything, it's just like,
yeah, I'm gonna second that, and then I'm gonna add another thought. So I mean, obviously you and I connect well in this respect, right? We're part of similar masterminds, and I've from the moment I started my journey in real estate, I started by paying for education, and not a cheap price tag either. Like I went in full on, I'm committed to this, I'm gonna learn, I want to avoid mistakes. And since then I invest a lot of money every year. I have a budget for that alone, just education, masterminds, networks, events, because you cannot be understated how important it is to pay for contact, to pay for network. Because that's where it all happens. Just like any other business, real estate is a relationship business. So you got to be in the room with the right people. What a difference it makes when you're in a room that that normalizes success, that normalizes growth, that normalizes, hey, I can make a lot of money. That makes a huge difference in goals, in self-development, in improvement. And I will always have that budget set aside every year for that. So agree. The other thought, in addition to this, that it's something that I learned, and I wish I would have had this perspective early on in my investing career, was I think a lot of people focus a bit too much on cash flow and don't understand that that's not where you make the real money. And I want to be very, as kind of and as clear as I can about that. I think when a lot of investors start, their thinking is, hey, let me, buy, whatever amount of properties. If I'm making $200 per property per door, now I multiply that. I need $5,000 a month out of my cash flow. And that's how we started too. We were trying to build like a certain amount of cash flow every month from our properties, until I realized that, hey, this is not really getting us. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Cash flow is awesome and important. And I don't do properties that are not cash flowing, but that's not what I'm after anymore. really where you get the advantage of real estate is leverage. What you're trying to do here is leverage two things. You're trying to leverage equity, because now you can leverage a huge amount of money for very small interest rates, and then leverage that to make a lot more money for you. Think like the bank would, because that's what the bank does. Where is the money at?
Yes, it's almost like focusing on the bigger picture. Your properties need to cash flow, but I'm like you. When I first started, it was the same. Like, it was all about the cash flow. But then sometimes people forget, like, the equity is the long-term wealth building strategy, right? Like, cash flow is great for those extras every month, right? To pay down the bills or go to extra like yoga classes. You know what I mean? The cash flow is great to make you more comfortable every month, but the wealth comes from the equity, because that is the bigger picture. So I think that's definitely something else that people focus a lot on at the beginning. And sometimes, like, you know, if your cash flow is a few $1,000s a year, the equity, we're talking tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands after several years, right? So, like, do you know how many months you need to cash flow to accumulate that? It's a lot, right? So just always think bigger picture too. And I know a lot of times people will start off with the cash flow so that they can have that time freedom and then focus on the bigger deals, right? So that's also a really great strategy as well. And so for me, so that was like the first big mistake that people don't talk about. Like, don't be stingy, please, I beg you. Like, learn from me. You know, don't wait 10 years to start investing in yourself and your education. And I find, like, sometimes it's not even about, like, if you're paying for one-on-one coaching, sometimes there's so much more that comes with that one-on-one. Like, you know, your coach will think of you when someone comes along with a deal, and they'll reach out to you. If you don't have that relationship, those deals don't come to you, right? You don't get that exposure to opportunities and the community. It's just like, you guys, there's so much more. It's not just education, it's connections, it's relationships, it's opportunities that come to you because of that. So just trust us on this. Don't be stingy, just go for it. Pay the price. It's gonna come back tenfold, I promise. And then the second mistake for me is not networking enough. I don't know about you, Adriana, when you started off. Like, I didn't network. I didn't even know what that meant. And it was really awkward for me. Like, I remember my first event, it was in Ottawa. It was the Ottawa Real Estate Investors Organization, OREO. So if you're not a member, please go check them out. They're amazing. So I went, I didn't know anybody, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, I don't know why I went. Like, I'm so shy, and I wanted to meet people, but it's so uncomfortable, right? When you first start networking, and you literally just have to force yourself. I know it sounds easier because that's what people told me to do 3 years ago, and I'm like, okay, like, it's awkward. But people, real estate investors, love talking about real estate. So I promise you just literally have to just say hi, and then everything will just like start to flow.
Yeah,
right?
I think about that is people are really self-conscious. You know, they're worried they're gonna look ask silly questions or say something wrong, or like look, inferior somehow for not knowing something. And at the end of the day, none of that is true. How much value do you get out of conversations, right? And again, we're going back to the power of building relationships. And there's no other way to do almost any business if not building relationships. Getting that skill honed in early on in the process will save you a lot of time, and will also make it so much more pleasing, because it's how much more fun it is to collaborate and do things together and get to know your people. All of my best friends now are all in the real estate world. It just happens to be the case because we connect so well over these things, and you just meet the most amazing people here.
Exactly. And it is uncomfortable. I'm not going to deny it, because it's new, it's different. And that whole saying, like, your network is your net worth, it really, it's true. And the thing is, it's not just about networking, it's about the inspiration and the support and encouragement that comes with that network, right? Because if you're around people who are thinking like big goals and big dreams, and when you tell them, hey, I want to I want to make $1 million this year, you want someone to be like, yeah, that sounds amazing, I want to do that, like, let's do it together. versus being in a room where someone's like, well, that sounds really like far-fetched, Danielle. I don't know. You know, like you don't want to be in that room, right? You want to be around people who are going to push you further, who's going to help you grow. And it's just, that's why it's so important. Like, I love my new like room, my new group. Like you guys are just totally inspiring me. Like, especially you, when I talk to you, I always feel good after, you know? And so that's kind of like where you want to be. You want to be around women who just make you feel good and want you to like get out of your comfort zone and support your huge ideas, and don't think it's unrealistic or, you know, too hard, or like, oh, you're being crazy. No, why not? You want someone to be like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Why not?
That's such a good point, you know? Especially because I tell people all the time, the uncomfortable factor of networking or being in a room like that is you may feel like you haven't done enough or you can't compare. I'm like, that's how you know you're in the right place. You want to be in the room with people that are way ahead of you, that are, it seems like they're way smarter than you. They've done so much more, because that's the only way for you to be looking up and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, because you're like, whoa, everybody here has done so much. Everybody here has so much. How do I want to be like that? And that inspires, motivates, but also gives you very realistic tips, tricks, ideas, how you do this. Like being in a room with Danielle and I, like, this is how you do this. You don't have to make the same mistakes that we did. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We're a couple of years ahead maybe, and we're already telling you some of the things to avoid and what to do to be successful in this.
Exactly. And, you know, like I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm super transparent with my tips and stuff. Like literally, like if I find anything that's going to be helpful to anybody, I'm like, this is what you need to do, because this is what helped me. Because I just love seeing other people like avoid mistakes. Like, take my shortcut. I'm giving it to you. Like, just take it, because I either learned it from somebody else and I'm passing it on, right? Just take it and go, right? Instead of like trying to figure it out on your own. And also, like, networking is so important for your mental health. Like for me, it's so important for me, because I need that. I need to be with other people who are lights, right? Who are like being the light for their communities. And sometimes, like at our events, I find like the women there say, you know, I'm the only one in my circle that thinks like this, or that feels this way, or who are trying to do this. And it's like, that's amazing that you're here, because now you have a new circle. You have a new group of like-minded individuals that are going to support you.
So true. I'm glad to share another like lesson that I've learned, which is, you know, not investing passively early enough. And I feel like Danielle has a lot to say on that as well. But you know, when we started, and it was part of also our mentality at the time, I think a lot of us have this belief around money that it's hard to make money, that money comes through a lot of hard work, that you have to pay your dues to be successful. I want to tell you right now that that's unfortunately not true. Unfortunately not true. And it's really based on a belief that a lot of us have growing up. That's just how a lot of us think, based on 98% of people out there and how they live their lives. That's not how wealthy, successful people think. Money is not hard to make. Money is not hard to come by. You don't have to pay dues. You don't have to go through every single step of the ladder to get there. So we want to tell you that we decided, when I started investing, I was not just active. I was like extremely active. I was on my knees, laying like vinyl flooring, like on our burrs, you know, painting, like dealing with a lot of things. And there's a lot of that, you know, I'm thankful for, and I've grown from that. But looking back, I realized that I didn't have to go through so much as I went. I could have started having my money work for me much sooner in the process, and potentially be somewhere very different right now, or have grown in a different scale and way. I wanted to ask Danielle directly, because you inspire me when we have this conversation, because I've seen your growth over the last 2 years. I've seen you speak to it, and it's absolutely unbelievable. I was only able to scale to a certain team level, being very active. It wasn't until I was able to switch that mindset and say, hey, it's okay to be active, but it's also okay to have my money out there working for me and leveraging someone else's time and someone else's knowledge, that I was able to really scale. And I wanted to hear your testimony on this, Danielle, because I know it's such a great story.
Oh man, like honestly, I feel like I don't even know. Like sometimes I'm blown away by the growth that I've gone through in the last 2 years. And honestly, I feel like it's not a secret. So I want to make sure everybody knows about it, because whatever I've been doing, everybody else can do, right? Like, because we're out here sharing that knowledge. So I literally went from 4 properties on my own, me and my husband, for 10 years. Like, we were refinancing every couple years because that was the only strategy we knew. We didn't know about passively investing. We didn't know about joint ventures. And then, like I said, when I stopped being stingy and started like investing money in courses and coaches and mentorships, we sort of stumbled into passive investing. And because we had those 4 properties, we refinanced them, and then we had like a stash of capital and equity. And then instead of trying to do everything ourselves, because I mean, you know, I work, I have 2 kids, we're all very busy. I cannot do all this on my own. But then there are amazing active investors who are doing this full time, you know, like yourself. When you and I partnered up on that deal last year, it was amazing, right? So I used my equity, like my earned equity from my previous properties, and I started passively investing. So I invested in a 7-plex with you, right? And then you did the BRRRR, and now that capital is coming back to me. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna park it in another investment. So I did that for a 12 unit, an 8 unit, the 24 unit with you as well last summer. And once that capital comes back, I repeat and recycle that money. And that's how I was able to go from 4 properties to 67 in less than 2 years, 67 units. We just closed on a 15 with another amazing investor, Aki. If you don't follow her, financially savvy girl, check her out. She's amazing. So we closed on a 15 unit together. And now we're working on this 50 unit together, you and I, right? 50 units. It's in St. John, New Brunswick. So if anybody is interested in learning about passive investing and growing your portfolio this way, it really is amazing because it frees up your time. You're using your money in such a smart way, right? Because you're leveraging other people's time, their expertise, and their experience. And at the same time, you can still invest actively if you want to on either smaller projects or passion projects of yours. And the whole time, your money is working for you. So that's essentially how I was able to scale from 4 to over like 80 something units in less than 2 years. Like this secret magical strategy of passive investing that people don't really talk about, but it is a way to invest. You don't need to be the active investor. And, you know, like you said, I was doing the same thing when I was doing my own renovations. It's a lot of work, and not everybody is a full-time investor, right? Like full-time real estate investor. So it's really important to make sure your money is working for you all the time. And passive investing is a really great way to do that. And I'm living proof. So if anybody has questions about passive investing, please like send me a DM. If you want information on this deal that Adriana and I are working on, send us a DM with the words invest50 so that we know that this is what you want to know more about. Actually, maybe we can give a little bit more information on that. Because I'm super passionate about this project because it's so cool, you guys. It's such a great strategy.
Absolutely. So we've been working on this deal for the last few months, and it's looking absolutely incredible. This is also the power of scaling here. We're talking about a 50 unit portfolio that doesn't come around that often, especially not in Canada. We're buying this portfolio for really good price. It's as of right now below market value. And then the greatest thing about this deal is we're doing a full repositioning of this portfolio. We're doing a BRRRR strategy here. So we're looking to double the valuation of this portfolio in 2 years. And then you're going to enjoy also the benefit of holding a brand new 50 units for the next 5. So it's very exciting. it's one of those deals that's just life changing once you get into it. So feel free to send Danielle, send myself a DM with Invest 50, and we're glad to go over the numbers and the details with you. We're beyond excited. Danielle has come and joined us to bring full force on this, and we're also going to be posting our journey and the renovation transformation here as we go along as well. But we still have we still have a few spots left if you want to come and join us on this.
Yes, amazing. So this is one of those strategies where you can invest your money passively, watch it grow, and we will be doing all the work for you so you can continue to do whatever it is that you enjoy, right? Because a lot of times people understand the benefits of real estate, but they don't have the time, or they don't have the passion for it, but they know the returns are good and they understand it, but they just don't want to do the work. But that's why we're here, because like you can tell, we love real estate, like we're obsessed. So join us so that way you can continue to do what you're good at and what you enjoy. And honestly, that is definitely one of the biggest mistakes that if I had to go back, I would have probably started investing passively much sooner, because who knows, like what could have happened. Like I spent 10 years doing everything myself, and then the last 2 was all joint ventures and passive investing. And so if you're just starting out now and you have some equity or some capital, or if you actually have questions on how to access that capital, if you own a home and you're not sure how to refinance, definitely reach out. I can help you with that, or Adriana can help you. Just let us know you're refinancing, and we can definitely help you through the process or guide you through it, or at least give you a contact that you can reach out to, because you want to put that money to work so that way you can benefit from your equity. I mean, you spent the time and the money to buy a home, and if you were able to build that equity, you want to make it work. You don't want to sit there, because we call that debt equity, right? So make sure you maximize it, because that's what we've been doing, and that's how we were able to scale so quickly.
That's right. I love it. Amazing. I feel like I could keep going on.
Me too. I know. Like I did a live yesterday with Abby, and I just wanted to keep talking, but we gave ourselves like a 20-30 minute window, so that way it's informative, it's efficient. So please reach out to one of us, and we'll give you more information on the 50 units. So Invest 50, either one of us, and we'll reach out. I think that's it for today. So tune in. We're going to have another one next week. We're launching these mini series to provide some value, share our experiences, and so that you can learn from us and just take our shortcuts.
That's right. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to next week as well. And like Danielle said, feel free to reach out. I want to give her a shout out. She has a really amazing online course that can help you get started if you're getting started. And she goes over a lot of these passive strategies, how to access the equity from your home. So she's a great resource on that. Reach out to her about that. And have an amazing rest of your week.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.